Today we're going to be talking about exercise, the benefits of exercise, and how regular exercise can be just as effective as an antidepressant as antidepressant medications themselves. Hi everyone. In today's video, we're going to be talking about exercise and how the impact that exercise has on mental health, mental well-being, and how exercise can serve as a very powerful antidepressant. But before we get into that, just a couple of disclaimers to go over. I'm a registered psychologist in the province of British Columbia, Canada, and this video is for informational purposes only. It is not intended as a substitute or replacement for advice from your doctor or mental health professional. Now, with those things out of the way, let's talk about exercise. Now, a lot of people know that they probably should be getting more exercise, and that exercise has a positive impact on mental health and mental well-being. But there's actually a lot of research that shows that exercise can have a powerful effect on depression. And for years, there's been numerous studies that have demonstrated that regular physical exercise can be just as effective in terms of reducing symptoms of depression as antidepressant medications, and yes, even as effective as psychotherapy. So regular exercise is hugely important as a tool to help overcome symptoms of depression. But we also know that getting regular exercise can be really protective and can help prevent people from developing symptoms of depression. And for people who are recovering from depression or who have recovered from depression, we know that regular exercise can help prevent relapse or can prevent recurrences of depression. So it has this really powerful effect in multiple ways on depression, preventing depression from happening, helping a person recover from depression, and preventing a person from experiencing recurrences of depression. We also know that exercise has a powerful effect on anxiety, and that regular exercise can help reduce symptoms associated with anxiety conditions such as panic, generalized anxiety disorder, PTSD, social anxiety, those types of things. So the question becomes, well, how exactly can exercise do this? I thought depression was caused by chemical imbalances in my brain, and so how does exercise change that? Well, first of all, the whole chemical imbalance in the brain thing is a cause for depression. There isn't actually a lot of research to support that. It's far more complex than just one or two neurotransmitters in the brain. And so depression is much more than just a couple of things happening in synapses in your brain. What it is it has an effect on a person's greater life. And so exercise can play a big role in helping a person recover from depression for a number of reasons. The first is regular exercise can help buffer against the effects of stress. And we know that stress and the impact of stress can have a huge impact on contributing to the start and the maintenance of depression. So in order to understand how exercise helps with stress, it's important to understand the stress response in humans, and that the human stress response evolved at a time when most of the stressors that people experienced were physical threats. Right? So back in prehistoric times, I'm walking down a path and a saber-toothed tiger jumps out at me. So my body is going to react in a way and respond in a way that's going to make me temporarily stronger or faster to either fight the saber-toothed tiger or to run away from it. And so there's all sorts of physiological changes that happen that allow me to become stronger or faster in this dangerous situation. So my heart will increase, my muscles will get more tense, my breathing will get more shallow, all sorts of things that are really adaptive and really effective in a situation where the threat is physical and that the danger is physical. So our stress response evolved in a time when the threats that we experienced, the stressors we experienced, were physical. But the problem is most of the stressors that we experience now in our day-to-day lives are symbolic, right? It's work stress, it's arguments with family, it's trying to balance work and parenting and family life and finances. These are all symbolic threats. They're not actually physical threats. And so most of the threats that we experience nowadays aren't best dealt with by beating somebody up or physically running out of the situation. Yet our body still responds to these stressors, these symbolic stressors, in a very similar way as if they were physical stressors. And so when we're under stress, we have all of this physical energy kind of ramping up as our body's kicking into that fight or flight response, but there's no outlet for it because there isn't actually a physical threat or danger. This is where exercise can come in. So your body's gearing up for this physical activity, so regular exercise can help burn off some of that physical impact of the stress and lower the physical impact of that the stressors are having on a person. So stress reduction is a really big part of how exercise helps reduce the impact of stress in terms of depression. Now, another benefit of regular exercise is that it can help give a person more energy. And we know that one of the things that contributes to depression is fatigue, not really having a lot of energy, not being able to do a lot, or not having energy to do a lot. And so what exercise is, sometimes people will say, hold on a sec, how can exercise build energy? I feel tired after I exercise. Well, yeah, in the short term, person may experience fatigue following exercise, but what we know is that exercise is kind of like an investment in energy. In the short term, you may feel a bit more tired immediately after exercising, but as you exercise more, you have more energy in general. So you have more energy during the day, you're less resistant, you're more resistant to fatigue, so you're not going to feel as tired or run down in the afternoon. You'll just have more energy overall, which allows you to do more things which can help combat depression. Now, some forms of exercise are associated with mood enhancement from the exercise itself. These types of exercise tend to be more aerobic exercise, so the exercise that gets your heart rate up and gets your heart rate a little bit higher. So things like running or swimming, cycling, those types of things that tend to get your heart beating a little bit faster. These types of exercise are often associated with what's referred to as a runner's high. And so this sense of euphoria or feeling really good after a run or after a good cycle or after a good swim. Now, this is caused by your body releasing endorphins, which are these really powerful neurotransmitters that can make a person feel really good after these types of exercise. So there's this kind of mood enhancement benefit just built into these forms of exercise themselves. Now, if you're experiencing depression, you may not feel this sense of exhilaration and this euphoria or this runner's high after doing exercise, but the more you do it, eventually that sense of reward and pleasure will come and it will return, and that can be one of the things that helps enhance mood in the long run. So there's all of these benefits from the exercise itself, but I think that exercise also has more intangible benefits in terms of helping a person recover from depression, get out of depression, and it has more to do with the process of exercise. So if you think of if you're having like a really depressed day, what are you doing? You're maybe staying at home, maybe staying in bed, avoiding people, not really getting out, not getting any fresh air. Well, think of what has to happen for you to go get exercise, right? You have to get out of bed. You have to get on clothes, or different clothes usually. You have to get out of the house. You're out getting some fresh air. If you're going on a hike, you're out in nature, and so you're surrounded by trees or birds chirping, or just feeling like you're outside of the concrete jungle that you might be living in. If you're going for a walk with a friend, there's just a social component to it where you're actually interacting with another person rather than being on your own. If you're going to the gym, you're surrounded by people and you're feeling a sense of kind of energy of just being around others. So the process of exercise, or getting exercise itself, can be really important in terms of chipping away at some of the things we do or don't do that tend to contribute to depression, or tend to contribute to having a day where I feel more depressed. Whereas if the act of getting out and doing something can help interrupt that process and that depressive day. So that's another benefit of exercise. And I think it's also important to point out that when people are engaging in regular exercise, the message that they're giving themselves is that this is important, this is valuable, and so I'm important and I'm valuable, right? The only reason for doing exercise is to do something for you, for some improvement into your physical well-being, improvement into your mental well-being. And so by getting regular exercise, it's almost like you're reinforcing this notion that I am worth it, and that there is some purpose and some value in this, that I do have some control in my life. There are some things that I can do to feel better. And that can help chip away at some of the lies that depression will tell us, which is there's no point, nothing I do is going to help me feel better, I'm kind of helpless to make any changes in my life. Just by getting out and doing some exercise, you start to chip away at some of these lies that depression's telling you. So you see the value, you see the benefit in exercise. So the question becomes, okay, well, what if I'm so depressed that I can't get any exercise? What if the depression is what's actually holding me back from getting more physically active? Yes, I know I should be more physically active, but I'm just too depressed to start. This is where goal setting comes in. And I've done a video on goal setting, and I encourage you to take a look at that if you haven't already. But the idea is, with goal setting, is to set your goals at a level of where your energy actually is. Exercise works really well with goal setting. So I'm not saying go out and decide, one day that you're going to go for, an hour and a half run every day, and you're going to feel better because you're getting so much exercise. It's not realistic, and you're just setting yourself up for failure if you do something like that. It's kind of like the New Year's resolution approach to exercise. Just one day I'm going to start exercising, and I'm going to get regular exercise, and I'm just going to change everything in my life in one day. Start small. If you're not getting any exercise, maybe you start with just going for a 5-minute walk once a week. And then the next week, maybe it's a 5-minute walk twice a week. And gradually build yourself up. Take it slow. Give yourself time. Don't expect things to change overnight. But as long as you're just starting the process, and as long as you're beginning to get some regular exercise, we know that has a really big positive impact on symptoms of depression. Now, in terms of how much exercise you need, what we know is that frequency tends to be more important than kind of intensity or duration. So you're going to get much more benefit from regular exercise, say 3 to 4 times a week for like a half hour versus kind of more intense or longer duration exercise sessions that are infrequent. So kind of like the weekend warrior, I'm going to go ride my bike for 30 miles on Saturday, and that's the exercise that I'm getting in the week. Frequency is more important, and frequency and regularity is more important. So building this into your lifestyle and building it into your schedule and into your life. Now, sometimes people will challenge me on this, and my clients will challenge me on this and just say, look, yeah, that sounds great, but I just don't have the time. And I get it. People's schedules are busy, and it can be hard to really find time to carve out to get exercise. But I think it's also important to understand that things like work, it's not just the amount of time that we spend doing our work, but it's how efficient we are when we do our work. So what I found is sometimes working with clients, I'll tell them, okay, you know what? Get some exercise before work. Yes, you may arrive at work a half hour later. So maybe you've been going into work early to try and get caught up on things. Get some exercise in the morning and start your day a half hour later. What we know is that the exercise is going to make you more efficient. So you're going to have more energy during the day. You're going to be more physically sharp. You're going to be more mentally sharp. And what that means is you may get more work done in less time than you would have if you didn't get any exercise and were just going through the day kind of tired or fatigued or stressed. So exercise can make you more efficient so that you can get just as much done in less time than you would have if you weren't exercising. So in that way, exercise is almost like it's almost like buying you time because it makes you more efficient and you're more energetic as you're doing these activities. So you're able to get more things done. Another benefit of exercise is that it helps with sleep, right? And so when you're exercising, you're burning off some of that energy. And so at night, you have kind of more of a drive to fall asleep. And so if you're sleeping better, that's actually, you're going to be more refreshed. You're not spending as much time kind of lying in bed, staring up at the ceiling. And so you get more time there as well. So the amount of time that you're actually sleeping is improved and is more efficient. So you wake up in the morning, you feel refreshed from the sleep, and the time that you were sleeping was spent sleeping as opposed to tossing and turning because you weren't able to fall asleep. So time shouldn't be a barrier to getting exercise, and it's important to see ways in which you can sort of carve out time to get more regular exercise. So what should you do? What forms of exercise are the best? Well, it depends on what you like. One of the things I emphasize to people is don't do exercise that you think other people are doing and that's what you should be doing as well. Find forms of physical exercise that you enjoy doing. Sometimes I'll be working with clients and they'll tell me, okay, yeah, I've been going to the gym. And I ask them, well, how's that going? They're like, I hate it. I hate going to the gym. It's just, it's loud. It's just, I don't enjoy the activities themselves. And so I ask them, well, why are you doing it? I mean, yeah, it's important to get exercise, but if you're doing something that you absolutely hate doing, chances are you're not going to continue doing it. So it's not an effective long-term strategy. So the idea is to find things that you enjoy doing for exercise. Going for walks, going for hikes, riding a bike. Try and incorporate other people into it so that it can be more fun. So if you're going to go for a run, maybe go for a run with a friend. Go for a walk with somebody. So you're incorporating two things: the social benefits of those activities, but also the physical benefits of those activities. If you enjoy what you're doing, you're going to be more likely to continue doing it. So really think about what are some of the things that you've done in the past that you used to enjoy doing. Maybe you don't feel like doing them now. Maybe you don't get a lot of sense of enjoyment doing them now. That's part of the depression. But if you know that you've enjoyed them in the past, those might be the things to really focus on in terms of exercising or forms of exercise to be getting, because you're going to be more likely to do those activities if you enjoy them. And finally, have some variety in terms of the exercise that you're doing. Have some options so that you're not doing the same thing over and over and over again. Also, you want to have indoor options versus outdoor options as well. If the weather's really bad, you may not want to be going out for a hike if it's pouring rain and really cold and miserable. So that may be where you have some options for indoor exercise. So maybe it's a yoga class, maybe it's doing Tai Chi, maybe it's martial arts, maybe it's playing a sport like basketball or volleyball, those types of things. So have some variety and have some different options that you can do for exercise. The key is there's no one form of exercise that's better than the other. It's what works for you and what you feel comfortable doing on a regular basis. And that's the key, regularity. If you can be doing 3 to 4 times a week, a half hour or so, that's going to have a really positive effect on mood and how you're feeling. So I hope that's helpful in terms of giving you a sense of the benefits, the overarching benefits of exercise. I'd love to hear your thoughts and ideas about this, so please leave me some comments in the comments section down below. If you've been enjoying my videos and would like to see more, please hit that subscribe button and notification bell, and you'll be alerted every week when I post a new video. So that's all for today's video. As always, thank you for making it all the way to the end of this video, and I will see you in the next one.